right, guys, how are we feeling? Feeling good? Let's give it up for Francisco and for Car, Yopaki, and PlebLab. Let's go. They put in a lot of thankless work. Let's recognize that right now. Guys, vibes are high. We got the orange man using the orange coin. We're ready to ride this rocket ship. Let's go. All right, so who the hell am I? My name's Jim Carucci. I'm founder and CEO of CASCDR, and today I want to talk to you about why Lightning and AI. Why are they a good marriage? I want to I want to give a surface level fundamentals of these two core technologies, Lightning and AI. I think both can be misunderstood, and I just want to show you how they dovetail into our vision for CASCDR, how we use them, and then what CASCDR has to offer. So, promise it'll be fun. Keep it high energy. Let's go. All right. So let's start with the Lightning Network crash course. It seems like probably most of the people in here are Galaxy brains. They've used Lightning Network, so I'm going to breeze through this pretty fast. So what is the Lightning Network? For the people at home, it's a channels-based payment network. The way it works is you commit a UTXO in order that you can send Bitcoin to a peer. And so I can create a channel with somebody here in the first row. They can do that with someone else in the next row with their UTXO. And we can do that ad infinitum so that we can send payments. And so the best analogy for this is it's sort of like bar tabs with abacus beads. So when I commit my UTXO, I can send that. I have all the abacus beads on my side, and we can route them between us. And ideally, as many people that have UTXOs can route payments between one another. So here's a simple illustration. Alice can route payments through to Eric, through Bob, Carol, and Diana using this technique. This is a simple illustration of the Lightning Network. You see a bunch of subnets. You see some big nodes here, but each of these lines represents channels that represent a UTXO that's been committed on chain and that is being used as an off-chain ledger. Most importantly, let's get into what advantages this affords us, and then kind of prelude into the advantages this gives us that avails it to AI applications. Firstly, we get low fees because we don't have to settle on chain, so we're able to just pay these routing fees. Generally speaking, they're quite low. And so what that allows us to do is send high resolution payments. We can send value as low as 1 millisat. I think I wouldn't bank on using 1 millisat at this moment. There's probably some bugs out there, but I would say probably as low as 1 sat you can use. So 1/100 millionth of a Bitcoin. I forget what that is right now. That's probably like 1/30th of a cent. That's pretty good. So you get high resolution payments. You get instant cryptographically provable payments. And with that, because you don't have to wait for the 10-minute block time, so you just have to send a message, and however long that takes to transmit is how long the transaction takes. And then what that also gives you is privacy, because you have the cryptographic proof of payment. You don't need to provide your identity, so that gives you superb privacy, especially in the context of Bolt 11 invoices. All you need is the pre-image, which is like a proof of payment. Okay, so let's shift gears. Let's get into an AI crash course. So I think AI is a buzzword. It's kind of misunderstood. It's overly mystified, so let's demystify it here. What a lot of people don't understand is that the AI revolution that we're seeing now it's decades of research culminating now. And basically what AI is a transcendence of rules-based or algorithms-based programming. In other words, if X, then Y. There's certainly more nuance to that, but it's this imperative paradigm where, we're basically having top-down programming. And that's excellent. We can send people to the moon. We can manage complex industrial processes with that type of technology, but it's quite limited in a couple ways. Firstly, it's not great at language. And secondly, it's not great at facial recognition or object recognition. These are two things that we take for granted as humans because they come naturally to us. We've evolved to do these things. We lived in tribes. We need to be able to communicate effectively. We need to be able to recognize people in our tribe. So they come quite naturally to us, but that's machinery that has evolved over millions of years, and that's something that actually takes quite a bit of rigor and effort to solve on a computer science level. And so what the result is with this imperative-based programming, these two big applications are limited, and you get brittle, inflexible applications. The big innovation with AI is the application of neural networks, big data, and LLMs in order to transcend these limitations. So when I say LLM, what do I mean? It's a large language model. Breakthroughs in techniques and also just mass scale infra, being able to imbibe the entire corpus of data on the internet has given us machines that are good at understanding human language. And that's been exceptionally impactful. We've seen sort of at the second half of 2022, we've seen this big boom in AI, and a lot of people, even attributing sentience to these chatbots that are quite sophisticated, quite flexible, and have the ability to solve a lot of open-ended problems. But truthfully, they're just autocorrect on steroids. They've been trained on the entire internet, and they're just predicting what the next word is. So I'd like to just kind of demystify some of the fundamentals in this, in LLMs as an exercise. Let's start with a very simple example with a neural net. So this is optical character recognition, OCR. This has been around for a long time. So the goal is to get from this handwritten character on the left, the number 9, to the deterministic assignment of 0 through 9 on the right-hand side, right? And so we have these many layers in between. This neural network is essentially a biomimicry application that mimics what happens in humans, animals, brains. These middle layers are called hidden layers, and you can kind of see the evolution of the output as sort of like a pipeline as we move from left to right. If you look at so you look at the first layer, that's obviously the handwritten character. If you look at the second layer, you can see, the neural net is kind of breaking it down into, subsections in the pixels, the pixel map. If you look at the next layer, you can kind of see that it's actually the strokes that it would take to write this character. You have a circle and a slash to make the 9, right? And then lastly, it's assigning probabilities and weightings and systems of equations to say, okay, if I have a circle and a slash and that's it, then most likely it's the number 9. So this principle is applied at scale with a lot of different applications. So if we abstract this concept, this ability to apply this black box of systems of equations to inputs in order to get to an output, we can get things like being able to identify the subject of a photograph at the top one, that's a coffee mug. Being able to identify the subject of a corpus of text that's written in Victorian language. You can apply this principle broadly to all different kinds of media, from audio, video, image, and just text, and interconnect them with these systems of equations that are well-trained, that are created with well-trained neural nets. So another aspect I want to cover is this idea of vectorization. So one of the big outcomes of transformers like ChatGPT is the ability to vectorize language itself, the meaning of language itself, into mathematical representations such that we can do algebra on them. This really simple example illustrates, somewhat morbid example, if we do Hitler plus Italy minus Germany, that's generally speaking close to Mussolini. This process is essential in allowing chatbots such as ChatGPT to be able to take inputs with a wide range of possibilities of different vernacular, even different languages, distill them to a I'll call it semantic valence, or a mathematical representation of meaning, and then actually act upon them in a coherent way. So in practice, how that works is it will take in the prompt, and it will actually essentially act like autocorrect. So how many people here have used autocorrect on their phone? So the way autocorrect works is it's trying to predict the next word that you say, and generally speaking, it's pretty crappy, right, on your phone. It doesn't have a lot of parameters, and that's the reason why. Now imagine if you had a supercomputer running, and it could, take into account everything you've ever said and anything anyone on the internet's ever said. That's the equivalent of what the LLM is doing. It's able to predict the next word, and it's just taking a probabilistic distribution on what the next word will be. And that is how it comes up with its response. And generally speaking, at scale, this bottom-up system can result in really useful outputs that actually have meaningful impact. What these two are, and the interesting thing is you can actually tweak what is called the temperature, which affects how far down the probability distribution the model is willing to go. So on the left, it's at 0, so that means it's always going to pick the most probable words. So it's going to have a more bland, more conservative response. Whereas when the temperature is 5, you can see sometimes it'll do a crazy Ivan, and it'll pick the third most likely, the second most likely, the fifth most likely, and it'll and that has path dependence, because remember that it's picking, it's autocorrect picking the next word, so on. So this technology is tremendously impactful. It's tremendously useful. So now that we covered, the basics of, how AI, the basics of LLMs, how AI works, what does it all mean? Fundamentally, it means that we have machines that now have a grasp of human language, and we can use them for applications we hadn't been able to use them for before. Main use cases: customer service, law, even writing code. Someone earlier was pointing that out. Code is fundamentally language. We can use them for translation because we have this base layer of meaning that's abstracted from the specific language, where we can have transformers that kind of just they're much more flexible, so translation is much easier. And then there's also more dark applications like surveillance and psyops. But all in all, I think that in our thesis at CASCDR is that this is a tremendous opportunity for productivity. There's all of these applications have the ability to automate human applications, help you get more done faster, and that's really the key to building wealth for all human civilizations. All right, so we covered the lighter side of AI. Let's kind of cover the dark side, and then how that informs our missions at CASCDR. So as I see it, there are really 3 main problems. The first is privacy. So the fact that we're leaking data all the time, and that we have automated systems that can analyze that data, that poses a tremendous threat to privacy. So I know the previous presentation was very focused on privacy. Being very conscious of what you're putting out there is critical. We have centralization risk. We can already see a lot of people trying to play the lobby game, trying to do regulatory capture and make it so that only certain people have access to these models. I think it's critical that we decentralize these models, and that's a part of our mission here. Last but not least, there's anti-social ends. The ability to manipulate and harm people is much more potent now that we have these very flexible automated systems. So it's imperative that we act with the utmost ethical integrity. At CASCDR, we believe that Bitcoin is a major tool in helping solve these problems and ensure that Bitcoiners and liberty-minded individuals are both well-informed and well-equipped for this new future where AI is coming. AI is coming, there's nothing we can do about it, and the best we can do is take control and understand these systems on a deep level, which is why I took the time to belabor these points and teach you about what I know about AI. All right, I'd like to share with you CASCDR's mission statement. Our mission is to use AI and Bitcoin to empower the individual, to help the user get the most out of the productivity gains from AI, and to enrich their lives while preserving their privacy and respecting their beliefs, wishes, and sovereignty. Furthermore, we want to empower a decentralized network of innovators to create value in the AI space and earn accordingly. All right, so that sounded really high and mighty. What the hell does that mean? What am I actually going to do about it? What are me and my team going to do about it? In its current implementation, CASCDR is a tool that allows you to take a request, pay over Bitcoin Lightning, use AI services, and get your work product quickly. So here we have a few examples. We have a ChatGPT proxy, so you're able to pay over the Lightning Network using Bolt 11, super privacy, those stay private. Likewise, we have a text-to-image generation service, and we also have an RSS agent that is capable of pulling in any podcast, summarizing it, pulling the top quotes, or even running your own custom prompt on it. So, let's dig into the advantages of using CASCDR. Why did I go this route? What are the advantages available to us by using the Lightning Network? First and foremost, as I mentioned, there's privacy. Bolt 11 has superb Lightning Sender privacy guarantees, so when we issue you service after you pay the Bolt 11 invoice, not only does ChatGPT not know your identity, we don't know your identity either, and that further protects your privacy. You can ask any question, no matter how crazy it may be, with assurances that that will stay private. As soon as you close the browser, that's it. Second is centralization. So we're laying the groundwork for decentralized network of innovators and supply chain to create innovative AI applications, uncensored AI applications, and also taking centralized platforms like Stripe out of the equation by using Bitcoin. Third, we have the economizing factor. So you pay by the call. You don't have to worry about topping up a $20 per month service, and thanks to the low fees on the Lightning Network, we're able to offer that at a profitable level. And last, and perhaps most underrated, and I think other people have discussed this with AI agents, because we have Lightning, we can deputize an AI system with a Lightning budget in order to combine tools in series to complete complex tasks. So I think someone earlier had a presentation like that. We at CASCDR believe that LLMs are like steel beams. They're a foundation through which we can create wealth, much like how steel beams are a foundation through which we can create wealth in the form of skyscrapers, bridges, railroads, etc. In the Gilded Age, I think we're at a similar point with LLMs where these services will be combined with other modules. CASCDR has 20 modules and counting, and we keep adding these and combining them in different ways to solve different challenges. So CASCDR, I mentioned earlier, we have a B2C product that's currently available at cascdr.xyz, but we also have B2B services that are available. So I just want to go through like a quick case study from our pilot B2B project. So a client came to us. They asked us to fulfill a request of being able to scan thousands of audio files and find mentions of relevant topics. And then they wanted us to help them proactively deliver alerts to their end users about the specific things that topics that they wanted alerts on, and also deliver summaries to them so they don't have to analyze all these files at scale with human labor. The prospect expected this to take 4 weeks plus, and thanks to the CASCDR modular approach, we had a lot of code that was ready to go. So it took us 4 days to turn this around. Our philosophy is stack users, stack modules, stack sats, and that paid off in a big way here. So if you're a business that really is interested to get into AI implementation, I'm going to have a QR code at the end with my calendar link. I'd encourage you to set up a call with us. Let's see how we can help you create wealth with AI. All right, next up, I want to get into a couple of the recent developments. So we have a new look for our site. So we have our old site here. This was a hackathon project that spiraled out of control. As you can see, I'm probably not the best front-end designer. And thanks to Oliver here, he helped us redesign our site. And now we're looking at this new one. Yeah. All right. So new site, and then had a couple things in the pipe. So we've been on a tight weekly shipping schedule. We've kind of chilled out on that a little bit. Coming in Q4 in October, probably November, if not December, we're going to have 2 new products. These are going to be focused on our niche network of content creators, podcasters, and their needs. So we've gotten tons of, oh, my bad. I forgot to enlarge in it. Okay. So we've focused on, so we have 2 new products coming out in Q4 that will focus on our niche of content creators and podcasters and their needs. So keep an eye out for that. And I would say if you're kind of curious about this, if anything I said resonated with you, I would encourage you to sign up for CASCDR Amber. That's our $9.99 a month unlimited plan. I don't know how much longer we're going to keep that going, but loyalty will be rewarded. You'll get access to these premium features. These features are going to be at least 5 to 10x the price of that, and you'll get a steep discount with that. And you'll get early access to it. So especially if you're a podcast creator, if you're curious about AI, I'll have a QR code at the end to our premium features. I would highly encourage you to sign up for that if you care about privacy, if you care about sovereignty, if you want to get the most out of productivity tools. Encourage you to sign up. So that about does it for us. We're CASCDR. We're pioneering AI and Bitcoin interoperability. We have these consumer applications, tools focused on content creators. We have Bitcoin payable APIs and services that are accessible from day one. Even if they're consumer applications, they're accessible from day one to businesses and to automated systems like AI agents. And we also have B2B implementation services. So if you're a solo builder, I encourage you to scan a solo builder or business. I encourage you to scan the QR code on the right, book a call with us. Let's see how we can help you use AI to enhance your business. And if you're just curious, if you're a tinker, I highly recommend going to CASCDR.xyz, play around, and consider upgrading to the $9.99 a month. You'll get access to our premium features. We're going to be shipping weekly. As Teresa mentioned, we're at the lab like every day, so we're going to be iterating fast. So hop on this deal while it still lasts. That's it. I'll open up to questions.
Now they have a secure, how do they call it? Secure cloud, yeah, that thing. How does that play along with Cascada? So for those that are not in context, what I understood from that keynote from Apple is that those are GPUs that supposedly have no logs and may have no logs, so that you can process your AI query and it's completely anonymous, so they say.
Yeah, I would encourage you to think about two things when I think about Apple. I think they virtue signal about privacy a lot. First example is there was a fundamental defect in their hardware that made it possible to exfiltrate secure data. So fundamentally speaking, they're not super concerned about security and privacy on that level. And then on the flip side, I think a lot of this privacy LARP came from the fact that Mark Zuckerberg had the audacity to say that he wanted to kill the iPhone with Meta, and so that they could use that as cover to kill Facebook ad tracking and instantly cut their revenues by 30%. So I think most of that is a LARP. I don't really trust those guys. Certainly they have a huge advantage in the sense that they're a $1 trillion organization and that they have access to tons of users already. But this is the way for true sovereignty, I believe. We're going to keep upgrading. We're not perfect ourselves, but fundamentally speaking, you can use our applications with virtually guaranteed privacy assurances using both 11 and VPNs.
Are you aware of Nostr DVMs?
I'm aware of DVMs. I actually, Topher and I commented on that early on. I'm happy to see people play with different implementations. My problem with that from day one, initially Pablo didn't want to encrypt those, and he gave us a hard time for saying we should encrypt them, and then he changed his mind because the Pleb AI guy, I think, made him change it. It's fine, but I think there's no reason to leak the metadata. There's no reason for anybody else in the world to know even what you're using or that you're using it. So I think from a privacy standpoint, it's better. I think there's certainly UX applications where it makes sense to use their model, and we could certainly avail ourselves of that. Also, one project I didn't mention is we have a Stacker News bot called ChadBot, CHAD bot, and you can get it to act like Trump. You can get it to Eli 5 stuff to you. You can give it a custom prompt and ask it to do whatever you want. So kind of just putting LLMs in the stack there, and it's history aware. It can even summarize Fountain podcasts. We have an API that can scrape and pull the transcript at runtime. So I think there's plenty of room for UX improvements and for collaboration. Just my personal preference is to err on the side of privacy. So I'm a little I'm not a maximalist on NIP 90, even though I'm aware of it and I respect it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Jim, one question. Are we all fancy autocorrects, or is that just the NPCs?
Are we all fancy autocorrects? Yeah, I don't know, man. I believe in God, so I don't know. I think there's a divine spirit in us. I don't buy that. Even if they
the
are NPCs, they're just possessed by something else. You know?
They don't have souls, so it's fine. Okay, that's my answer. Thank you.
Okay.